Has anyone ever told you a trick for sharpening kitchen knives using inexpensive items? Before I start showing you how, I'll test this dull kitchen knife I have here first to make it more convincing. Although the paper was torn, the cutting force came entirely from pressing hard with the wrist rather than the knife's sharpness. This shows that the blade has lost quite a bit of sharpness after a period of use, so I'll also try cutting a tomato. This ripe tomato is honestly one of the easiest things to test on, yet the knife still can't slice through it and requires much more wrist force. Alright, if you're dealing with the same situation, don't worry anymore. Give me a moment to think. Okay, I just came up with this idea. Here, I've prepared some aluminum foil, and I'm going to use it as the sharpening surface for the DIY knife sharpener I'm about to make. To improve the sharpening performance of this DIY tool, I'll crumple the aluminum foil to create more surface friction during sharpening. Next, I have a rectangular wooden block measuring 21 centimeters in length and 3.5 centimeters in width. I'll attach the crumpled aluminum foil to the surface of this block to complete the DIY knife sharpener. I'll use liquid glue to secure and wrap the aluminum foil around this rectangular wooden block. This is double-sided tape, and I'll use it to secure the knife sharpening tool to the table, making the sharpening process more stable and allowing both hands to be used more effectively at the same time. This is cooking oil, and I'll apply a thin layer to the surface of the knife sharpening tool so the blade can move more smoothly during sharpening, while also helping reduce harsh friction and limiting tiny metal particles from sticking to the surface. Next, I'll sprinkle baking soda onto the surface of the knife sharpening tool. When combined with the layer of cooking oil applied earlier, this mixture can add a mild level of surface friction, help the blade move more steadily during sharpening, and assist in cleaning away tiny metal residue left behind. When you get to this sharpening step, don't rush into it right away. Practice the motion first to get comfortable, keeping the blade at a steady angle and moving it in a consistent direction so you can feel how it contacts the sharpening surface. Once your movement feels more natural and controlled, then begin the actual sharpening. After finishing the blade sharpening step, we won't stop here but move on to the next stage, which is polishing the blade. This is an AA battery, and I'm going to use it as a polishing tool by removing the outer metal casing and keeping the smooth metal layer inside to use as a polishing surface for the blade. To improve the polishing effect, I'll also use toothpaste to help make the blade surface smoother and shinier during the polishing process. And for something important, I'll repeat it a second time. Practice the blade polishing motion first to get used to it, keeping your movement steady and consistent. Then begin the actual polishing. Alright, the process of restoring the dull kitchen knife blade is now complete. Now I'll begin the real-world test right away. So, with just a few simple items that most people probably wouldn't connect to knife sharpening, we've made it through the process of restoring a dull kitchen blade. A sheet of aluminum foil, usually left in the kitchen drawer, became a sharpening surface once crumpled. A small wooden block turned into a steady base. Cooking oil mixed with baking soda helped the process feel smoother. Double-sided tape kept everything stable on the table. And even an AA battery with a bit of toothpaste found a purpose in the polishing stage, helping the blade surface look smoother and cleaner when finished. Looking back, the interesting part isn't really what the items were, or whether they were cheap or expensive, old or new. It's how they were used at the right moment and for the right purpose. Sometimes, the things sitting quietly in a forgotten corner turn out to be more useful than we ever expected. And then comes the moment when you begin to notice the difference. Not first with your eyes, but with the feeling in your hands. The motion feels lighter, smoother, sweeter, the resistance and extra force slowly fading away, replaced by a sense of flow that almost makes you pause and think, all of this, from something so simple. Maybe that's the real charm of DIY. Not always needing expensive tools, but learning how to use ordinary things around you in a thoughtful way and being surprised by how well they can work.